Hello everybody, and welcome to this 21-day awakening experience. I am so delighted that you've made this choice for yourself and you've taken the step to engage in this and learn a deeper practice that you can take with you and bring into your daily life. And the first step is usually the most difficult, so well done on turning up for yourself. Science and research show that you are most definitely in the right place to improve your life. So this is week 1, and this week focuses on settling the mind and the body for an optimum experience, and it also introduces intermittent hypoxic training. In this week, the practice is shorter and gentler to allow you and your body to learn this practice, and if you've never done it before, to build up your breath hold times as we move through this 3 weeks. So it's all about building awareness before change. And the goal is to introduce the map. And we're not going hiking just yet. We're just looking at it, and we're looking at this is where I am, and then deciding on where it is that you would like to go. So to begin with, let's just take a quick moment to come back to ourselves, our bodies, and let any tension, stress, or negative vibrations that you may have picked up throughout your day drop away, and allowing you to be fully present here. So we're going to take 5 deep breaths in and out, in slowly through your nose and out through your mouth. So let's try that now. Breathing in and breathing out, allowing your shoulders to drop. And breathing in and allowing your face to relax. Breathing in, allowing your jaw to soften. Breathing in and releasing any tension that you've been carrying from your day. And one last breath. And let it go with a nice relaxing sigh. Great. So let it all go. Allow yourself to be here. This time is for you. Remember why you're here and enjoy it. So I am Nik Stapley, and I actually came to know Soma Breath through this very course. And at the time, my mind felt ridiculously loud and quite difficult to manage. Sleep was inconsistent. I was experiencing difficulties with digestion. My anxiety levels would creep in, I suppose, and I felt like there was this background shouting that I couldn't switch off. And a friend recommended Soma Breath to me after her own experience at a health retreat. And so I tried a few sessions online and then committed to this 21 days. And I experienced shifts that I just did not think were possible through something as simple as breathing. And then that curiosity became a calling. And over time, I realized that this work isn't just about breathing techniques, it's about awareness, which is what this course is all about. Being aware of how you feel, awareness of the sensations that you feel, and not just what you're thinking. So before we go deeper, I would love to know how you're feeling right now, and not what you think you should be feeling, but what you're actually feeling in your body right now, on a scale of 1 to 10, 1 being very low, 10 being peak joy or calm clarity. And so just feel into it right now and pop it in the chat. Let's see how you're all feeling today. That noticing is the beginnings of your awakening. Oh, so we've got an 8, 7, 3. Ooh, we've got some work to do. Great, well that's fantastic. So tapping into your feelings and sensations in your body is going to be the theme of this journey. We're going to try and get out of our heads and start feeling into our bodies. And as we progress through the course, you're going to realize why you're doing this. But essentially, when you tap into your feelings, you're recognizing the language that your body responds to. And this in turn will affect your thoughts and your direction. Because your unconscious mind, it doesn't really distinguish between real and imagined. It senses the actual feeling that you have right now. And it's this that's going to gently guide you towards making better choices towards your desired future. But I'm getting ahead of myself, sorry. We'll come back to this in due course. So throughout this journey, you may find it useful to journal, actually, jotting down any changes in your emotional, mental, and physical states. It's really important to realize that this may not initially take the upward trend that you want. Your body's going to take a little time to get used to this new trend that you're introducing it to. There's going to be physiological and psychological changes at play. So by changing the way we breathe, for one example, we're going to be altering the pH of your blood, oxygen being more alkaline and carbon dioxide being a bit more acidic. And so as we build our tolerance to carbon dioxide, all these changes have a knock-on effect. So be patient and kind with yourself and just note everything down. It's pretty interesting actually to look back once we get to our wrap-up call, how your journey has unfolded and how your scale of 1 to 10 will change. You may also get insights or moments of clarity during or after the breathwork, and note these down too. This helps us to begin to see our own patterns and to bring awareness to them and to change them if desired. So hopefully you've all had a chance to go through the pre-course material, have you? It's no worries if you didn't. It's just most important that you're here now, and you will have time to go through that if you want. And the only real requirement that we ask on this course is that you do the daily dose. The other exercises are there to assist you with your journey, and they're actually really important and very, very useful. So it's up to you if you have time to go through that. So for anybody who hasn't had a chance to go through the content, let me just bring up my screen now to just quickly go through it with you. Okay, so hopefully you can see this screen. Great. So when you will have had to create an account to go onto the course, so you should see this page. I've got a lot of other things on there, so don't worry if you're not seeing what I see, but just go in to take a course. My internet's a tiny bit slow, a little bit of patience. So then you go into whatever courses are available to you and scroll down to your 21-day awakening journey. Click on that. And then here you are in your course. You can press start course and work through it progressively. So you've got your welcome. Hopefully you've had a little chance to look at this pre-work lifestyle design. So there's a lot of great information in here that explains a bit more deeply what it is that we're aiming for, what Soma Breath's about, and how to enjoy the practices in this before the 21-day start. Again, don't worry if you haven't managed to do this, it's okay. You can always come back to it. You've got a little free ebook here to help you understand how your breath can set you free, and you had a little daily practice there before the course started as well if you wanted to try that. So we are in week 1, and so we've got, this is the initiation phase. What we're going to be working through is creating your average peaceful day, the day that you can live over and over again, not a fantasy day, an average day that you could live and will hopefully live. Here is where you will find your daily dose. So when you're trying to do your homework every week, so it's about just under 12 minutes, this is where you'll find that meditation. So if I just click on it, it comes up right here, so you just press play. And of course we recommend headphones to deepen your experience. And then you've got all the other exercises here as well, nature of reality, and these are all fantastic exercises to help guide your mind and help guide you into your body and just direct you with your thought process. And then at the end here, you've got your homework for next week. Have a look at this. This is going to be to consider people who have qualities that you would like to have. Now, this can be like a fictional character, maybe like Superman, you want to be stronger and healthier. It could be a famous person, perhaps you want to have qualities like some Prime Minister or Tony Robbins, or someone you want to be able to be better at speaking publicly, perhaps. It can be someone you know, it can be someone completely fictional, it could be your mum. Just people who have qualities that you would love to have for yourself, and they're going to be at your table for the exercises next week. So do have a little think about that. And again, the link to the course, or to these calls, should be emailed to you each week. And it's my understanding, if you've missed your email or you can't find it, that the same link that you've arrived at this call today will work for all of the calls. And if you've got any problems at all, just contact support, this email address here, support@somabreath.com, and they're really, really great at quickly helping you to fix whatever problems you may be experiencing. Super. So why are we going to get out of our heads and into our hearts and start using our intuition? So like I mentioned before, this course is designed to gently guide you out of your head and to begin taking more notice of your heart space, what you feel and how your body's responding. So we're focusing on feelings to begin opening up our understanding of any blocks that we might be experiencing, any program that we might be under the influence of, and it's essential to feel this for optimum manifesting. And this is where you come to realize that your perception actually shapes your reality. So what you believe becomes true within your experience. And these beliefs can be transformed to open up new possibilities and new ways of being. And there's actually a book called Prometheus Rising by Robert Wilson. And he goes into programming and reprogramming of the mind. And he uses metaphors like hardware and software to describe the brain. And the hardware representing the biological wiring and the innate predispositions. And the software refers to learned patterns, beliefs, language, and cultural conditioning. And this is something that Soma Breath also refers to, and why we talk about reprogramming ourselves. So Wilson mentions the thinker and the prover. And I think this is a really interesting analogy because when I apply it to myself, I certainly see the connection there. So the thinker generates beliefs, and then the prover selects evidence from your own reality to justify whatever the thinker comes up with. And this kind of illustrates how people unconsciously reinforce their own reality tunnels and resist contrary evidence. Super interesting. So if I believe I'm not very confident, my brain will collect proof of that. And if I begin to believe I'm capable of growth, my brain will start noticing evidence for that too. And breathwork helps to create a state where we can observe those patterns rather than be run by them. So how it works: when we practice rhythmical breathing and gentle breath holds, research shows that we often shift into alpha and theta brainwave states. And these brainwave states are associated with creativity, emotional processing, and reduced overthinking. And at the same time, the rhythmical breathing activity in the default mode network, so that part of the brain that becomes active when the brain is at rest. So that can really quieten down when we use rhythmical breathing and music and breathing in beats technology. And it's crucial for this default mode network. It's associated with ego. It's crucial for processes like self-reflection, emotional processing, social interaction, and mental exploration. And we can quieten this activity with breathwork and meditation. And that is why I guess many people report clarity and insight or calm after their sessions. Not forcing change, we're just creating conditions for awareness. And over these 3 weeks, we're not forcing change. We're simply bringing awareness to the patterns that may no longer serve us. So awareness always comes before transformation. So I've been rabbiting on. Do any of you know what we mean by awakening? Does anyone want to unmute themselves and give it a go? No? Yeah, it's the first call. It can be a bit daunting to unmute yourself and become visible. But anyway, I'll just carry on. When we are talking about awakening in this course, we're not talking about floating off into another dimension, though that could be a possibility for you. And we're not talking about becoming someone new, though that is, we're just trying to guide ourselves to better choices and better lifestyles. So what we're talking about is awareness of the patterns that have been quietly shaping how we think, how we react, choose, and perceive our lives. Most of us are running mental programs that we didn't consciously install. And this can be beliefs about money, about love, about worth, about what's possible for us. And all these programs influence what we notice and how we interpret events and how we behave. So this week is simply about beginning to see those programs. And for the purposes of this course, we're calling them, and it is actually a widely used term, metaprograms. And metaprogram is simply a pattern of thinking or reacting that runs automatically. It's kind of like a filter through which we experience life, and most of the time we don't even realize that it's there. So reality tunnels, which is this experience that we have lived and what we know, these reality tunnels can be social patterns that have shaped how you perceive events in your life. So each of us sees life through a kind of lens, and it's shaped by our upbringing, your culture, family patterns, religious beliefs, past experiences. And sometimes those lenses are supportive, and sometimes they actually just quietly limit us. So awakening is noticing the lens, and it could be useful to think, well, instead of asking, who am I really? You might want to ask, what lens am I currently looking through? And it's important to remember that lenses can be put down. And then we're going to move into, this is part of your content as well in your course, the law of attraction, which is not just about wishful thinking. It is your inner programmer at work. Going back to the thinker thinks and the prover proves. So let's imagine that you've tried to visualize your dream job or your dream partner and nothing has happened. Well, this is where the law of attraction comes in, and it can often get a bit of a bad rap because folks tend to skip like this metagame that we're talking about. For example, if you were to repeatedly feel stress, your nervous system scans for more stress, and it's providing proof that the outcome wasn't meant for you. And when you're at higher vibes, which you'll get through this Soma course, You cultivate regulation and clarity, and this can really shift your perception. You start noticing opportunities instead of threats. And whether you call that manifestation or selective attention, your internal state influences what it is that you see. Does that make sense? Yeah, great. So there is a little experiment that can help you to understand this concept of law of attraction. So say, for example, you have a big pile of coins or a big pile of jigsaw pieces, whatever works for you, and you visualize a specific coin or a specific shape or color of a jigsaw piece that you want to find and start gently hunting for it. So you've visualized it and what it is that you're hunting for, and your mind will then filter out all the other coins and all the other shapes and everything and colors, and it will direct your attention towards seeing and finding what it is you're looking for. And do you find it via selective attention, or do you find it by true manifestation? Either way, your mind shaped this reality, and our breath can amp this up by boosting our carbon dioxide tolerance. And why would carbon dioxide tolerance help? Well, the breath holds that we're going to be practicing and building up our intermittent hypoxic training, the carbon dioxide stabilizes nerve signals and it boosts brain oxygenation, it dials down excitability, and it flips your default mode network from autopilot into presence. So does anyone have an example of a meta program that they feel might be holding them back that you're willing to share with the group? Maybe I could just pick someone, or you can unmute yourself. Yeah, well, you might have a bit of a mental freeze. Week one's always difficult. You'll open up. So I'll start, give you maybe something to, inspiration. I have found that certain word programs and deep filters led me to think this is how I should be rather than this is who I am. And one of those was I became aware that I was linking my worth to usefulness. And I noticed that I felt most valid when I was supporting or helping other people. And this was just running automatically. And it was very much part of how I was brought up and very much part of my Irish hospitality culture. And it served me for many, many years, and it still does. But I began to realize it also meant that I struggled to receive, I struggled to rest, and I only felt I could take up space if I had earned it. So this course didn't tell me who to become, it helped me to see what was already running, if that makes sense. And breathwork has helped me to notice that depth needs replenishment. Rest isn't a withdrawal from service, receiving isn't indulgent, and being off form isn't a failure of integrity. It's a rhythm. And awareness softened the whole program. I guess I was exquisitely programmed through all these cultural and family experiences to see others first, because it was important to be adaptive, and it was always rewarded, people were always grateful, and that's a reward to our ego, isn't it? And it felt safer to focus on others than turn the lens inward on myself, I guess. And trying to see yourself clearly can feel a bit like breaking the spell you've been living inside, which is difficult. Questioning the very tools that helped you to survive and succeed. And it betrays that familiar identity that we form of ourselves. And this is who I am when I'm doing it right. So yes, when I notice self-judgment now, I ask, would I think this about someone I respect? And when the answer is no, I realize it's probably not quite the truth. That it's my conditioning wearing a sensible cardigan. Often, I find anyway, often nothing is actually wrong about myself or yourself, that I'm just viewing it through a usefulness lens or a composure lens, a service lens. And lenses, like I said, can actually be put down. So we all have our lens that we see life through, which is shaped by our upbringing, cultural and past experiences. And like I said, sometimes it's useful and sometimes it quietly limits us. So awakening is simply noticing the lens. And that becomes actually a very different kind of seeing, a much kinder kind of seeing. So has anybody now got anything they wish to share? Anything that you feel might be holding you back? No? Okay. Well, let's move on to the average peaceful day, which you will have seen in your course content. And this is not about creating a fantasy. It's about giving your soma, your body, a taste of what it feels to feel like at peace. So you have a compass for reprogramming, a compass for your map. And the paradox here is when peace becomes your baseline, success, creativity, and connection tend to flow more easily without any strain. So let's take a moment to imagine your normal, average, peaceful day, one that you'd be happy to live on repeat, day in and day out. So this is not fantasy, it's not you've won the lottery and things like that. It's your average day that you're going to live the rest of your life. And some useful questions, and you'll find all this in your course content as well. Think about where you are and how does your body feel in this place? Who is around you? Are you alone? Are you with a partner? What does the air feel like? Is it warm? Is it a nice moist sea breeze with salty tang in the air? What does your peace feel like in your soma, your body? What are you having for breakfast? Lunch? Dinner? Did you make it? Or did somebody else make it? Are you dining inside or outside? What can you hear? Can you hear birds and leaves? Can you hear the sea, a lake? Can you hear city noise? Some people like that. So let this picture, as you do this exercise, let it grow with great detail. Just really go into the details and really feel into it, how it is you're going to feel when you're living this day. And as you're imagining this, you might actually, as many people do, you might hear this little voice or sensation that says, well, that's unrealistic. You don't deserve that. Or that's not practical. And this is perfect because that is one of your programs revealing itself. And awareness is step one. So, would anybody like to share what their average peaceful day might look like? Give us all some inspiration. Just unmute yourself. Great. Well, thank you for sharing. That was fabulous. So let's move on to now how awakening might rewire you. So why breath? How does our breath support this? Well, let's talk about carbon dioxide for a moment, because carbon dioxide has had a really bad PR campaign. We've been taught that it is just a waste gas. It isn't. Carbon dioxide is a vasodilator and a relaxant. It helps our blood vessels to open. It helps oxygen to travel deeper into our tissues and organs. And here's something really fascinating. Oxygen does not automatically leave the blood and enter your cells just because it's there. It needs the presence of carbon dioxide to signal it to release from the hemoglobin. Now, this relationship is known as the Bohr effect. discovered by a Nobel Prize winner and scientist, Christian Bohr, in 1904. And there's so much science now to support this. Carbon dioxide is essential to this process of getting more oxygen into our tissues. So when carbon dioxide levels are too low, and this often comes from chronic overbreathing, the oxygen can cling to the hemoglobin instead of being delivered efficiently to your tissues. And this can show up sometimes as lightheadedness, muscle tension, brain fog, anxiety, reduced stamina. And low carbon dioxide levels will also constrict your blood vessels and reduce blood flow to your brain significantly. Hence the above, the symptoms that I've just described. So when we chronically overbreathe, we are actually undermining oxygen delivery, even though we think that we're getting more oxygen, and that is the paradox. So this isn't about hyperoxygenating the blood, which isn't really possible, as our blood oxygen saturation sits at around 97-ish% most of the time, pretty much all of the time, except for when we hold our breath long enough. And this is about improving how efficiently oxygen is delivered and used. And so this is where some of you are probably thinking right now, hang on a wee second, if low carbon dioxide levels can be problematic, then why are we deliberately holding our breath to induce this? And this is a really great question. And context matters here. Chronic dysregulated breathing is not the same as controlled intermittent hypoxia. So short intentional breath holds in a safe window act like smart stress, like altitude training on demand. So it's been proven that athletes who train at high altitude where there's lower oxygen levels, it really increase their athletic performance. And the ancient yogis also understood this intuitively, and modern science now shows that brief and controlled dips in oxygen can stimulate adaptive responses, and this can support red blood cell production. It can support your vascular health. It can support nitric oxide release and your mitochondrial, your powerhouses in every cell that powers our every thought, movement, breath. It improves mitochondrial efficiency. So it's not a prolonged deprivation. It's signal and adaptation, so stress followed by recovery. And that is how resilience is built. So it's very much the same as strength training. You always rest to allow the muscle to form afterwards. It's like fasting, it's like cold exposure. The magic is in the dose, and in this practice we're going to be staying within safe limits. And there's a mental and an emotional layer to this as well. So when your breathing is chronically shallow or dysregulated, your neurons can become more excitable and fire out of sync, and this can really impact your focus, your memory, emotional regulation, and it can manifest as anxiety, low frustration tolerance, mental fog, and over time, stress physiology becomes your baseline. So part of what we're doing here is recalibrating your nervous system, teaching it this sensation is safe, this pause is safe, I am safe. And as your carbon dioxide tolerance improves, many people experience a greater calm, improved focus, better stress response, more emotional regulation. So we're training our nervous system to remain steady in the presence of discomfort, and that skill transfers into your life. Rhythmic breathing has been shown to shift the brain into alpha and theta states, quite similar to meditation. And in these states, the part of the brain associated with overthinking quiets, and we become more receptive and more aware. And at its peak, which we're going to realize in week 3, we're going to uncover profound insights, or we can do. And we're going to have creative inspiration, and this can allow you to shift from old limiting reality tunnels into new and expansive ways of living. So I want to zoom out for just a moment. Where does this fear originate? Where does fear come from? And if we had to strip it all the way back, our very first survival reflex was breath. And if you think about it, at birth we moved from an environment where oxygen was delivered to us to a moment where we had to breathe independently. So breath and survival neurologically have become linked from day one. So when we hold the breath now, even briefly, that ancient wiring in your brain can activate. It's quite primal. So here's the opportunity. In these breath holds, we get to observe that wiring. We get to notice what story does my mind create? What sensation feels threatening? What patterns are emerging? And this is where metaprogramming comes in. So over these 21 days, you may start to recognize patterns, not just in your breathing, but in your reactions. Where do you brace? Where do you avoid? Where do you push? Where do you disconnect? The breath becomes a bit of a mirror. And once something is recognized, it can be released. Not forced, not judged, just gently unwound over time. And of course, lifestyle plays a big role too in your breathing pattern and your mental state and how your body is feeling. So things like processed foods, sedentary living, chronic stress, all influence our breathing patterns and cellular efficiency. And this is the empowering part. Breath is something that we can shift immediately. Yay! So through rhythmic breathing and intentional holds, we're restoring our balance. We're improving our carbon dioxide tolerance. We are improving, therefore, oxygen delivery efficiency. And we're supporting our lung capacity and stamina, creating mental clarity, and at a cellular level, and this is what I love, inside each of your cells are hundreds and sometimes thousands of the mitochondria, these little powerhouses. And they combine oxygen with glucose to create ATP. So I never get to say this right, an adenosine triphosphate. And this is your body's energy currency. This is the only currency of energy that everything depends on in our bodies. It also produces carbon dioxide and water, but ATP is the focus here. And like I said, it fuels our movement, our healing, our brain function. So imagine the influence that we can have over our energy production when we combine optimal breathing with optimal nutrition. And I am actually a chef, and this fascinates me endlessly. And it's my direction with this course, well, not this course, but my direction with Soma Breath, that breath and nourishment together is the foundational cellular health and the basis of all vitality. I'm very excited about it. So we're not pushing our limits recklessly. We are building awareness, we're building resilience, we're building trust, and all beginning with our breath. So over the next 3 weeks, you're going to hopefully start noticing some patterns in yourself. You're going to be gently training your nervous system and soothing it. You're going to be building your carbon dioxide tolerance. You're going to create a space between stimulus and reaction, and hopefully it becomes respond rather than react. And you'll cultivate awareness before any change can come about. And that is awakening. Pretty powerful. So that is the foundation, and I have prattled on quite enough. So we're going to now move into today's practice. If anyone's got any questions, well, actually, let me just go through the contraindications first. So hopefully you've all had a chance to go through the course content. Today we're going to be calming our parasympathetic, bringing ourselves into our parasympathetic nervous system, so calming the body. We're going to be breathing in for 2 counts and out for 4 counts, and then breathing in the second round of breathwork, breathing in for 4 counts and out for 4 counts. So it's structured. We're going to be breathing rhythmically, and then you'll hear guidance to breathe fully in and then exhale and hold your breath out. So we'll be holding our breath out for about a minute in this initial phase. And then you'll be guided to breathe fully in, and you'll hold your breath on the in-breath too. So each sequence, there's going to be 2 rounds of breath work, rhythmical breathing, holding your breath out and holding your breath in. And with the holding your breath out, it's really important, because this is what this is all about, is trying to push beyond your comfort zone a little bit. Because when we push beyond our comfort zones, that's when change, strength, resilience all start to build. And so as we progress through the 3 weeks, you're going to hopefully notice that your breath hold time becomes longer. And anywho, I will quickly tell you the contraindications before any questions. So slow rhythmic breathing techniques of Soma breath are safe to be used for anyone and can be beneficial for all individuals. Forceful mouth breathing, prolonged breath holds, and extended intense fast breathwork hyperventilation for more than 5 minutes should not be practiced in any of the following cases: severe critical diseases or infections if it impairs your ability to breathe, severe uncontrolled hypertension, usually after, like, say example, a heart attack, organ failure or late stage terminal illness, pregnancy, if you have epilepsy, a pacemaker or an irregular heartbeat. Only exception here is if you have spoken to your doctor and you get specific permission. And you should note also that conditions like tinnitus and hernias may be aggravated by breath holds, and prolonged intense rapid breathing / hyperventilation require careful attention to technique. So for tinnitus, there is a neck lock technique you can use, where you just, when you're holding your breath, tip your head forward, and that's a neck energy lock, and it can help to prevent pressure building up in your head, which can aggravate the tinnitus. And if you're suffering with a hernia, you might want to avoid doing the pelvic floor pulsing. If you've gone through the course, I haven't spoken about it. Just don't do any pelvic floor pulsing or holding. Yes, just go gently. So if you do have any of these contraindications, don't worry, you're still in the right place. You're going to get enormous benefits from this course. The rhythmic breathing and the visualization techniques are going to help you enormously. Just don't do the breath holds. Just return back to normal breathing and enjoy the meditation. So, any questions? No? If you feel you need to have a toilet break, now will be a good time, and I will get ready to share my music. Okay. Is everybody back from the bathroom? Cool. All right. Well then, let's begin. just let me know first if you can hear this.
Welcome to Soma.
Yeah? Perfect. Okay, well, enjoy the meditation. We're going to first begin with the average peaceful day meditation to gently guide you toward, with beautiful little questions to help guide you towards shaping your average peaceful day. And then we'll all come back on screen, we'll have a little chat about that, and then we'll move into the 11-minute breath meditation with the beginning to introduce the intermittent hypoxic training. So, enjoy this meditation. See you soon.
Welcome to Soma, the manifesting journey. Sit comfortably in an upright position with your back straight, or lie down on your back with your arms by your side, where you will not be disturbed. The key is comfort, so be as relaxed and comfortable as possible. Now, with your eyes closed, bring your awareness to your breath as you breathe in and out. That's right. Let my voice be your guide.
Okay, how was that, everybody? If everyone just wants to gently come back, take your time, no rush here. How did you get on with planning your average peaceful day? Does anyone have anything they would like to share before we move into the breath work? No, everybody has a clear image in their mind? That's fantastic. Great. So now hold these thoughts and images and inspiration that you have brought in with that average peaceful day meditation, and allow it to guide you through your breath work. So now we're going to move into the breath work, and I'll see you in about 12 minutes. Enjoy.
Welcome to Soma Breath Intermittent Hypoxic Training Sequence, where you're going to be breathing in a 2 in, 4 out rhythm with a breath retention phase. Breathing in through your nose, out through your mouth. That's right. So now sit comfortably with an upright posture, relaxed. When you hear me say in, breathe in. And when you hear me say out, breathe out. The smooth and consistent rhythm to the rhythm and groove of the music. That's right. Let's begin. 3, 2, 1. Exhale and in. Breathing in, breathing out. Smooth, consistent inhale.
So coming back into the room, gently taking your time, remembering that you have shifted your physiology just now, and increased your carbon dioxide levels. Wiggle your toes, give yourself a little gentle little movement, and turn your screens on if you had them off, and tell me if you wish to share how that was for you. Does anyone have any questions? No? Okay, great. Well, then you have your homework for this week. So you have the other meditations that are available to you to help guide and build your picture for yourself. I recommend them. They are not essential, but you know, you've paid to come and do this course. Why wouldn't you? And work through those. They're really useful exercises for shaping your vision. But we do ask that each and every day you set aside time to do your daily dose and start to think about who you would like to be on your average peaceful day council, and who has qualities that you wish to download into yourself, upgrade your own system. So think about who those people are, write them in your journal. Try and remember to journal if you're into that. It's also not essential, but it's very, very helpful so that when we get to the end, you can look back and see how your journey has unfolded. So if there's no further questions, I shall see you next week. If you do have any questions, don't forget to contact support and put it in the community chat. I've got so many supportive, helpful, lovely, warm people. So yeah, you're not alone. And reach out. Don't be afraid to reach out. See you next week. Bye.